All right, guys, welcome to Knights of the Round Table. I am Tevin, otherwise known as Mr. Talbane, and we have Super GameCube 64.
Hello.
And Mr. Matt, or Summer, whatever he wants to go by tonight.
From Cinnabon.
What are we going by tonight? Cinnabon?
Cinnabon is his channel.
Cinnabon?
He said
so
Summer.
we're going by Cinnabon tonight?
Sure, whatever.
We'll just call him that faggot in the corner.
That works. That works.
Yep. All right, so...
Now we're going to get hate comments for saying faggot on air.
Exactly. Already. The second episode in.
The second episode, we already got a faggot bomb.
Oh, well, we got a nigger and a faggot.
Definitely. Exactly.
Hey, you're kind of right. I mean, I hate to say it, but you two do kind of cover that
ground.
ground.
Vigilante.
We're very offensive here, I guess, but we're also very unoffensive at the same time, because technically we do have a nigger and a faggot here.
Now I can't. I was actually thinking, because I play fighting games, and when I go to the tournaments, you have to put a name. So I was gonna put nigger vigilante, but I can't put that because that's
like Negro, which is what your Skype display name is.
So I put Nigra.
Okay.
So I put Nigra because it's like, if you watch Black History videos a lot, there's like people from the South, they can't say Negro, so they say Nigra.
You know, I actually live in Virginia. I've heard people say that. And
exactly.
I didn't know what the hell they were on about.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, today's topic is going to be about how video games have gotten more normal, or some people would say casual, or just, I guess, more open to the public nowadays. But before we do that, how's everybody been?
Sick.
Everybody been sick?
I was all right. I was all right until tonight, and now I'm mad because the Oscars are over, and I'm not happy. But I'm never happy with what they choose every single year. My feelings are hurt, but you know what? I ate good tonight, so I'm good.
I believe your Facebook posts were Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't even know, man. I live blog the Oscars all the time, and I don't know. It's like my Super Bowl.
For the record, Steph's not wicked.
Kind of like
he has internet issues,
this weekend,
but he'll be back. So
yep. This weekend, I was watching the Southern California regionals. I was catching bits and pieces because, as you guys know, I got 2 jobs now, 2 good jobs, I should say, and shit's been busy. I haven't been able to watch anything really, but I caught a good match that happened on Friday, and then I caught a match that happened today before we started. But shit's been busy. But I've also managed to start playing some games again and stuff. Like, I got the Tales of Symphonia collection. Anybody familiar with that?
Yeah, I like Tales games, but I always lose interest in them. Like, halfway through, I'll just drop them.
Yeah, because but it's weird because halfway through is when, like, you think the game is over and it's not. So you're just like, what the hell?
I have no idea.
That always happens.
Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Exilia, Tales of Vesperia, all of them, I started them and loved them, and I just and just stopped.
You need to get on those. You need to tough it out, as I like to call it. But yeah, they remade Tales of Symphonia. I got the collect. You know what the fuck they did? Because I got the collector's edition, so I'm supposed to get like the chibi dolls and everything.
Right.
And they sold my shit.
I would have punched somebody in the nuts.
They sold it the day that I came in to return, because I had to give my resignation letter to GameStop. So
yeah, me and Tevin both got new jobs this week. That's another reason there hasn't been an episode.
I didn't.
Yeah. Everybody's moving on up.
Shut up, Summer. Nobody cares.
Wait. I did buy a studio, so I'm moving up too, I guess.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So good on all of us. Golf clap for us.
Yep.
We did things.
Everybody give us a round of applause. That's slow clap.
But anyway,
let's get on to the topic at hand. Video games becoming more open to the public.
I mean, when I said more normal, it was just like it was a vague word, I guess. I figured that you guys would know what I meant
I know what you meant
when I brought it up.
I definitely know what you meant. But yeah, I guess just to clarify for everyone, Super GameCube means being more open to the public, which is very true, I feel, because a
good example, and I know it's like a staple example, but Call of Duty. Like, who do you know that hasn't played Call of Duty? I mean, even there's a chance that even like your uncles or your grandpa may have played Call of Duty. Like, in all seriousness, that's the perfect example, I guess. But there's other games
definitely, as well. And yeah, there's a lot of clones of Call of Duty that have come out. There's even just games, I feel, in general have been made more so for people to enjoy it rather than, you know, that challenge that we got, you know, back in the day.
I do think the exception is fighting games.
Yes, I was just about to say that. I was actually going to say that till later, but
yeah, well, we'll get into that. But for the record, me and Tevin are like the fighting game dudes. Like, that's all we do.
Fighting games don't let up. Especially there's specific ones that I guess we'll get into later once we get to
we'll get on that. And me and you will probably talk about that for 20 minutes. But
yep. And definitely. I will sit here in my corner silently sipping a Monster.
Yeah.
Well, you can talk about Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's pretty casual.
Get the fuck out.
Depending on the game, like I think Kingdom Hearts got more casual, quote unquote.
Yeah.
In Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, well, I think what it was is like they made it and they were like, "Hey, 12-year-old girls love this shit. Let's market it to them."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Whereas Kingdom Hearts 1 is no joke, and Final Mix is no exception either. Even when they remade it, they supposedly lost all the
they lost all the original files, so they had to redo it completely. But what bothered me about that was they still didn't bother to sync the lips.
But they made it challenging. Maybe I'm hoping the remake of Final Fantasy X, they don't make it, you know, easier, but they might, so people can enjoy it more. But I don't even, as far as it goes for games in general just being easier, there's a lot to choose from. It's not as, what can I say, it's not as scarce as finding, let's say, you know, for instance, the new DMC, Devil May Cry.
Well, I wouldn't really call that easier. I would call it more accessible. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Like, accessible is like here's how you play this game. We're going to show you exactly how you need to play this game. It's up to you to play it well. Mm-hmm. Easy is
definitely.
Here you go.
Were you gonna say something?
That was what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I get it.
Now there is
yeah. Like, easy is just handing the win to you.
There's one game in particular that, like, although it's a newer game, they haven't let up, and it was I actually just got it on Friday. It's Bravely Default. It's actually really challenging.
Yeah, I played the demo of that.
I was like, yo, this is no joke. I better step it up. But thanks to knowing, compared to my other friends who have no history with classic Final Fantasy,
you should not be friends with
these
people.
I know a little bit. What happened?
You should not be friends with these people. They don't sound like good friends to me.
But, you know, they played, you know, the most people played Final Fantasy 7 or 10 or whatever.
Well, I mean, I started with 7, but I went back.
Yeah. I actually started, weird enough, I started at the first one. I played the remake that was on Game Boy Advance. I started like with 1 and 2, the Dawn of Souls collection, I think it was called.
That seems like it would be very difficult if you didn't know what to do in Final Fantasy. Like, I can't imagine I can't imagine playing Final Fantasy when it first came out. Like, I would have no idea.
Because they didn't give you any backstory or anything, so you never knew where to go. But the remakes did. So, as opposed to it just being, oh, you're on the field, go somewhere.
Right.
And see what happens.
Right. But anyway, but you notice, like, a lot of times, like, if you play a game like Call of Duty, if you play it online and you're in, like, a group talking or whatever, A lot of times, if they ask like, what other games do you play, and like you bring up stuff that's like obscure or I guess more gamey, and it's like all of a sudden they just become disinterested. Like it's you know what I mean? But I think the developers are starting to market to that audience more than they are to, and I know some people hate this word, but to actual gamers.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say actual gamers is what they hate. I think what they hate is saying hardcore gamers or whatever, but anyone can be hardcore at any game. So that's kind of really, I can see where people are just like, that's kind of subjective, because there could be a hardcore Street Fighter player, but then it can also be a hardcore Cookie Mama player. It doesn't, like, it varies.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. When I play Cookie Monster, I go hard. Did I say Cookie Monster? Oh my god!
Say Cookie Monster.
Cooking Mama, Cookie Monster. I'd play that pretty hard too, but I meant to say Cooking Mama.
I feel like
people would say, for instance, Super GameCube is a hardcore Harvest Moon player.
Like my girlfriend. Oh my god, my girlfriend in Harvest Moon. Oh my god.
Like you cannot touch his girlfriend in Harvest Moon. It's not going to happen.
You can't.
Just like.
You can't. When I play Harvest Moon, I'm broke for like the first year and a half. When she plays Harvest Moon, she's got like 3 cows by the end of the 3rd month. Like,
Jesus Christ.
I'm exaggerating a little bit,
working hard,
but she goes hard on the Harvest Moon.
Definitely. You steady trying to marry one girl. She's already got all 3. This is like what's going on?
You know what the funny part is? If it was possible to do that, she would totally do that.
I'm sure. I think anyone would. It's hard to choose. It's hard to choose.
I feel like developers lately.
I went really hard on Harvest Moon was. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like developers lately have been trying to make games easier and prettier, and not focusing on much else.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a lot of cases. But going back to the whole accessible thing, like accessible doesn't mean it's easy. Like, right, for example, the new Pokemon games I would say are easy because they did make it more accessible. They did things to make it more accessible. Like now you can see your EVs and things like that. But at the same time, they dumbed down everything. Like, even Victory Road is so simple in X and Y, and I love X and Y from the multiplayer standpoint. But from just going through the story, I was like, I got bored.
Definitely, and the story was actually longer than most, which was cool. But it was still like you were still breezing through it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to. I literally beat, like, usually I have to try at least 2 or 3 times to beat the Elite Four. I gotta kind of level up a little bit, before I can do that. I can beat the Elite Four with level 40 and 50 Pokemon in X and Y, and that's just easy. Mm-hmm. That's not accessibility. That's dumbing it down.
No, but then when it comes to Pokemon, you could say the same thing about the Elite Four back in Gold version and Silver version, because the highest level Pokemon was like level 51, I think.
Yeah, but it was still harder.
Yeah, because they had better moves, and the computers were a lot smarter.
Yeah, the computer in X and Y will use a move that is completely ineffective like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. But
why would you do that?
But yeah, going into the fighting games now with the accessibility thing, you've got things like one of my favorite fighters of the year it came out, which I think was last year, it might have been 2012. All I know is I fucking loved it. Persona 4 Arena is basically BlazBlue easy mode, and that's not a bad thing. Like, it's still challenging. You still have to learn a character. They just made it. They just made it more available for you to do that.
Exactly, and Street Fighter as well. Street Fighter 4 is a lot compared to the other ones. It's a lot more accessible.
I'm still horrible at it. I suck at Street Fighter.
Yeah, it depends on. It's really down to who knows more than the other at the end of the day when it comes to Street Fighter. But they do. They now have like challenges and stuff like trials, so you can learn certain combos that work, and things like that. So they give you like a little guide, as opposed to back then where it was just like, yeah, there's training mode, but we're not going to tell you what you can do in it. You just got to learn what you want to do. But
I just push buttons until my super gauge fills up, and then
my strategy with Street Fighter is to stay in the corner as Chun-Li and just keep kicking.
Oh man,
that won't always work. They could just shoot a projectile at you.
It hardly ever works, but that's what I do.
Hadoukens. I mean, for all we know, like Summer could just be the next Jin. What was his name? The guy that did that. That guy that did that super comeback shit.
Oh, Daigo.
Daigo, that's it. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Thought it was Jin.
And that was on the hardest. He managed to do that on what is known as probably one of the hardest Street Fighter games to ever come out, which was Third Strike.
Yeah, just if you don't know what we're talking about, just go to YouTube and type in like Epic Chun-Li comeback. It'll come up.
Yeah.
But
you type in
since we were talking
Daigo the Beast.
Yeah, since we were talking earlier about the Tales Collector's Edition, now we're talking about fighting games. Have either of you looked at the Blaze Blue coming out this month, the Collector's Edition?
Actually, no. I mean,
it comes with a Rachel Ninja.
I've already played Chrono Phantasma. My friend has the Japanese one on his PS3, so I've played it I played it already, but
okay. Well, the US version, the limited edition, is going to come with a Rachel Nindoroid, and I'm totally paying $80 for that.
Awesome. I'm probably going to see if I can get it. When is it coming out?
I think the 25th.
Because I don't remember the date.
I'm just guessing the 25th.
Yeah.
We can Google it.
Yeah, next week.
I'll Google it.
Because I get paid weekly now, which is fucking great. So I'll probably like put down on that.
Okay.
And some other stuff. And probably the new Ninja Gaiden that's coming out.
March 25th, 2014.
Yep.
Hey, I think that's this year.
That's one thing. There are certain games that...
Really?
What happened?
I think so too. He said he thinks that's this year.
Yeah, that is this year.
Anyway, but then too, and a lot of people might think this is kind of a stuck-up thing for me to say, but I mean, this is a show about sharing your thoughts, so I mean, I guess regardless of the feedback I'm going to get for it, I should share my thoughts. I feel like, not the term gamer, because anybody can be a gamer, but the majority of gamers, I guess, are what you would call nerds. And
yeah,
to me, nerd is not an insult at all, but I feel like nerd culture has been exploited a lot lately. And I feel like you can't just decide you're a nerd. I feel like you have to kind of earn that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I grew up
I
grew up getting flack for everything I loved and being that kid that nobody wanted to fuck with. Yeah. So to me, I feel like it's something that you have to earn it. Mm-hmm. You know, and of course now
it's like a lot of
yeah, I mean I grew up and I became a lot more social, and now I have all these nerdy friends, but I mean, you know, that was a lot harder to accomplish in like second grade.
Yep.
You know.
Definitely. Especially when it's just like, oh, this dude's always playing games and stuff. So, but back then it wasn't as accepted as much as it is now, right? Because it's become pop culture thanks to games like Call of Duty and God of War and things like that. All these easy to learn or easy to play games. But there are, you know, despite all these easier or accessible games out there, still certain games that are geared towards the hardcore person. Like I mentioned earlier, Bravely Default, the Ninja Gaiden trilogy that has been around.
I can't even do Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden makes me break shit.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, last time I played Ninja Gaiden, something got broke. I don't remember what it was, but I don't want it anymore.
You just know it broke. That's all. You didn't break it yourself. You just know it just broke.
Yeah, I probably just looked at it so intensely it shattered, to be honest with you.
But what was I gonna say? But even in the fighting game community, since we were talking about fighting games, they even have this whole subculture of, you know, The reason why there's a lot of Street Fighter players is because now Street Fighter 4 is more accessible. But with Street Fighter, you can tell the men from the dogs and stuff. It's no big deal with that.
I'm not even a dog. I'm like the dog's crap that he just like took on your lawn.
But you see, you can accept that. And that's the difference between you and everyone else that is, too busy playing Call of Duty, and they're amazing at Call of Duty. You know how many times where I've had people say, "Oh, I'll play you in Street Fighter," and then I beat their ass, and they're like, "Oh, this wouldn't have happened if it was Call of Duty."
Yeah, I've had that happen.
So it's just like, well,
actually,
I'm like, well, this ain't Call of Duty.
I have a cousin that he likes to blame things on controllers a lot. Like,
oh, that's great.
I had Injustice. I had the Wii U version of Injustice. And my cousin was over, and he was talking smack to me because he's the type of kid that thinks he's better than everybody at everything, and he's like, "I can beat you at Injustice." And I was like,
"Yeah,
have you ever fucking played Injustice?" And he's like, "No, but I can beat you at it." I was like, "Well, let's go then." And I grabbed my Pro Controller. I gave him. He was using the gamepad. Now, if you've never held a Wii U gamepad, it is super comfortable. Anybody that tells you it's heavy or like holding a tablet has never held one in their life because it is comfortable.
That's a lie.
So he's playing, and I whoop his ass because I've been playing this game for like a month, and he's never touched it before. But I didn't let up on him because he wanted to talk like he was going to beat me at it. So I didn't teach him anything. I just gave him the controller and I whooped his ass. And then he was like, "Oh, it's because I'm using this stupid controller." And then so I tried to switch with him. I was like, "Okay, fine. You want to use the Pro Controller?" Then, no, man. No, I'm going to go. I got to go outside. So,
So your cousin sounds like Boomhauer?
Actually, yeah. Like,
I will say the very first time that I ever held a gamepad, it was really awkward feeling for me.
It was for like 2 seconds for me. And then it's not heavy at all.
It's not heavy.
It's not heavy. Like, it's just not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
I just realized I just insulted Alabama, and Seth is totally from Alabama.
Fuck Alabama. Fuck Seth. Who is Seth? Fuck him.
He'll hear the archive. He'll be okay.
Oh, man. Anyway. But
what was I saying? But there are fighting games that people don't play, even in the fighting game community.
Like Arcana Hearts?
No, they don't play Arcana Hearts because there's a stigma with anime fighters, but that's a whole different subject matter.
Whoever thinks there's a stigma with it can suck my dick because I love some Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue.
It's not that there's a stigma with the games. It's not there's a stigma with the games. There's a stigma with the crowd that plays the games is what it is. So that it draws people away from the games. But that's a whole different subject matter.
Yeah.
But there is Guilty Gear is one of those harder games, so people don't play it as much. But the ones that I hear of the most that are like difficult games, like you need to actually, you can't just be, you can't be what's the word? You can't have untapped potential or whatever you want to call it, or raw talent, I guess. And these games are Virtua Fighter 5, Final Showdown, and the King of Fighters 13. You will not succeed having raw talent. You may be a little bit better than most because if you have fundamentals, like fundamentals transfer to every fighting game, so it's not a big deal. But like other than that, if you try to play King of Fighters like Street Fighter or Virtua Fighter like Tekken, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, that goes without saying. I turned up my input volume a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear me a little better.
Okay. But yeah, when it comes to that, even in the fighting game community, there's a whole, why is this not accessible? And I feel that kind of sucks because I feel like even people that have been gaming for years have kind of lost that drive.
Yeah, but do you know how good it feels when you figure out a character in Guilty Gear with no command list?
Yeah,
like
I know.
It's so like you can't. That's like the most successful feeling.
Exactly. You can't get that, looking up stuff all the time. Now, I understand looking up maybe strategies and things like that you may want to try out, but it's also a lot cooler to find out like little combos and stuff by yourself. Like there's combos for Takuma in King of Fighters 13 that I've learned by myself, and I've even checked to see if these combos were on the best websites to look for KOF's content, and they're not on there. And I'm like, oh shit.
Well, Bloody Roar is a little bit like that too. Like Bloody Roar games never have moveless.
The moveless. And
but Bloody Roar is a lot more accessible than a 2D fighter because it's kind of self-explanatory. Whoop on people, become an animal, whoop on them harder.
Exactly. But as opposed to like games being more like, I guess, accessible, there are other games though that, like you said, that are accessible, like the new DMC. When you said that, it actually brought up a good point in my mind, that there are certain games where it's like, yeah, they have it accessible, but they have harder difficulties for those who want a challenge.
Right, like, and I can say, like, as somebody who sucks balls at DMC 1 through 4, I like the games, and I want to be able to play them so bad, but I can't. I've tried multiple times, and I cannot play these games. But the new DMC...
Just need to practice.
I've tried. I cannot play these games. But the new DMC... I'm not going to say I'm amazing at it, because I'm not, but I can get A and S ranks where I can't get those in the other games. But the game isn't any easier. I still die all the time. I just understand how to actually play this one.
Definitely. There's also one company, I do want to bring this up, one company that is very the game is accessible and it looks cool, but you're gonna have a tough time playing it, is any game made by Platinum Games has been challenging as hell.
Basically,
Metal Gear Rising.
Like, you can totally cheese your way through Metal Gear Rising if you want.
Yeah,
but it's not fun that way.
Exactly. They made one game called Vanquish. I don't know if you guys ever played that. Really fun third-person shooter, and it should have had multiplayer.
Yeah, I wanted to play it. I just haven't got around to it.
It is so fun. It's like, I think you can find it for like $20 now.
Yeah, you probably can.
It's so fun. Probably less. I think I've seen it for less. But that game is a lot of fun. But it's like an arcade game. Really, the only multiplayer aspect is comparing high scores with your friends, or with everyone else online, like leaderboard.
And I think another thing when it comes to a game being casual or being more accessible and things, I think it depends on the genre a lot. Because some games it's okay. Like, I mean, obviously games have changed a lot because it started off just being about your high score. Frogger, Pac-Man, Asteroids, it was all about getting that score up. But recently it's become more about story, characters, things like that. And I think some developers are struggling to be able to insert a game into that kind of environment, And
it's like a lot of times they feel like they need to choose one or the other.
Right, and Metal Gear is like the one exception. Like, Metal Gear is the one game that is extremely cinematic, and at the same time, it's like, this is a fucking video game.
Mm-hmm. And it reminds you that it's a video game with all its breaking the fourth walls and everything like that. But you still, it's not to a point where it takes you out of the game.
Right, but then you have things like The Last of Us, which I haven't played yet, but I mean, I've seen enough of it. And I guess to a greater extent, things like what was that one that came out recently?
It
was a PS3 game. Yeah, Beyond Two Souls, and what was it? Crap, Heavy Rain. Games like that, Of course, they're going to be easier and more accessible because they're not
adventure games.
They're not supposed to be super difficult, but
However, Last of Us was actually pretty challenging. I'll give it that.
Last of Us was hard.
It was because it's.
I haven't played it yet. Like,
it's pretty difficult because they put in a survival element to it, where it's like you don't have a lot of bullets, you don't have a lot of items, and it's like you really gotta go and use your set wisely, especially in the harder difficulties.
So they did what Resident Evil 6 should have did?
Yes, basically.
Second episode, we ragged on Resident Evil 6 2 times in a row.
Like if I play Resident Evil 6, I beat Jake's story by myself, but if I play Resident Evil 6 again, I gotta play it with someone. I can't play it by myself because there's too much bootleg in that game to not enjoy it with someone.
If I play Resident Evil 6 again, I'm gonna shoot myself in the
head. But yeah, like Last of Us is one of those exceptions. I would say Uncharted would be more of the accessible one if you could choose when it came to Naughty Dog games, because that one's like Indiana Jones type deal. So you're gonna have a lot of bullets and everything like that. But Uncharted on the harder difficulties, just like these other games, is no joke. But they give you that normal mode so you can enjoy the show while you play.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, because some games it's okay, but then there's other games where it's like, why are you dumbing this down? Like your core audience that you should be selling this game to doesn't want it dumbed down. Like, all right, Super Smash Brothers. I'm pretty sure all three of us like fucking love Super Smash Brothers, because if you don't love Super Smash Brothers, then you're an idiot and you can unsubscribe to us for all I care.
Oh yeah.
but like Melee. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that Super Smash Brothers is this like omega deep game. It has deep elements to it, but it's not. It's. I'm not gonna say that it's like this super deep thing. But Melee had a lot of advanced stuff in it. Like if you wanted to take it that far, here you go. You know, wave dashing. The physics were more realistic. They had momentum. And then in Brawl, they were like, you know, because Sakurai actually didn't like that people were making Melee competitive.
Yeah.
Because he wanted it to be one of those games like anybody could win. But everybody else was like, nope. But in Brawl, you know, they took out those physics. And so, you know, with that, you know, you lost the momentum. You lost short hopping. You lost wave dashing. You lost pretty much everything except dash dancing, and it really did level the playing field, but that's not what people wanted. And unlike most developers, which have just been like, well, forget what you want and did it their own way, Sakurai has actually been listening, because if you look, like Smash 4 is not out yet, but he knows about Project M. He knows about it, and he has seen the backlash that came from it, and so I mean I think with Smash 4 he's really just kind of sat down and said, okay, you know, you're giving me my money, so I think he's still gonna do what he wants with the game in the end. I think he's still gonna, you know, I don't know the word, but I think at the same time he's listening.
It's going to be a compromise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
because he doesn't want them hacking his game again to make it to the, you know, to what they want, and then it be free or something.
Well, it's still not free. You have to buy the game to hack it.
Yeah, you still got to buy the game, but like,
but there are people like, if you that already have purchased
the game.
Yeah, there are people that have went out and purchased Wii's and Brawl just to install Project M on it.
Yep. If I get Brawl, it will be just to get Project M, to be honest, because I don't have Brawl for Wii. I used to, but I don't have it anymore. But if I get it again, it'll be to do Project M, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And recently they added in Mewtwo and Roy. Now they're talking about bringing newcomers definitely. Like Skull Kid and I think Lyn from Fire Emblem.
If they do that.
Oh, they are. It's going to be in the next update. They've already announced it.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It's gonna be Skull Kid.
Now I have to
Skull
get
Kid, Lyn, some chick from Advanced Wars, and Isaac.
Please let it be Sammy.
It is Sammy.
Oh yes, please. Oh man, that's cool though. But yeah. What was the other game? I was also like when we're on the subject of that, I'm also afraid of the new Ninja Gaiden being a little too easy. Now, a lot of people, I think it might work differently though, because a lot of people didn't like the Ninja Gaidens that came out last generation, I guess we could say now, because they were too difficult or whatever Some people didn't like it. Most
ever. Like, yeah, the games made me mad, but have you ever played the NES Ninja Gaiden?
Exactly. When has Ninja Gaiden ever been easy?
You're supposed to get mad at that game. That game is supposed to make you want to, like, stab your sister. Like, if your sister came in the room like, hey, you want some cookies? You would just, like, smack the platter out of her hand and punch her in the nose.
Well, doesn't your sister do that anyway?
You want to know what it is?
Do what, Summer?
I mean, don't people feel that way about their sisters anyway?
Well, I mean, I guess for the most part, you know, unless you're one of those weirdos on 4chan.
Yeah, but
I mean, personally,
I think with Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think with Ninja Gaiden, it wasn't the fact that they expected it to be easier. It was because these other action games, like I'm gonna tell you the big 3 action games: Devil May Cry,
yeah,
God of War, and Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
God of War is the most accessible one.
Oh yeah, you can button mash your way through God of War without a doubt. You can
button mash God of War. It's all good. Devil May Cry, a little less accessible, but it is not Ninja Gaiden in terms of difficulty. And then there's people that play Devil May Cry that play Ninja Gaiden, and then there's people that play God of War that play Ninja Gaiden, and they're expecting Ninja Gaiden to be like that because you're this cool ninja that does all this stuff in the cutscenes. Right. Then you start playing, and the ninja, you think you're supposed to be whooping ass, and then you're getting your ass whooped, and people don't really take kindly to that.
Right.
It's like they want the screen to stop when the tutorial screen comes up and stuff like that. But if you ever, especially Ninja Gaiden 2, the tutorial is on the screen while you're playing, so it's just like press square and triangle, and you're just trying to read it, and you're getting your ass whooped while you're trying to read.
And so I think I don't understand. All right, I'm bad at Devil May Cry, but I can make some amount of progress. But I know how to play Ninja Gaiden, and I still get whooped.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense.
It's because they make those computers super ridiculously smart. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the kind of drugs they're putting into these DVDs or Blu-rays, but these guys are ridiculous. Like when I found out that in Ninja Gaiden 2 that dismembered enemies will commit suicide on you, that was almost I think at the first time that happened to me, I turned the game off.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
So before we sign off in a couple minutes here, Summer, go check your email. See if anybody sent us their butts.
No one sent their butts.
Oh.
No one has sent their butts.
You guys
are slacking.
You gotta send us your butts.
Weeks to send your butts. No one saw the butts.
I mean, we took a couple weeks off because we were all like super busy with new jobs and stuff like that, and you guys still didn't send us your butts. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, all the time.
I better see some butts.
cinemabunreviews@gmail.com. One word. Come on,
he said
guys.
cinema butt reviews for a second.
I mean that works too, but I won't get it.
You should start doing. You should do an extra segment on your channel called Cinema Butt, where you like review some actor's butt.
That's actually a good idea.
I know.
Oh man, but yeah. Any of you guys have any final thoughts on the matter, or?
I mean, I'm still just sticking to my guns that, to me, I think nerds are always going to buy nerdy games when it comes down to it. There's always going to be that market there. The problem is that it's become such a niche market that we're seeing less of it, and I don't like that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, my thing is, while I don't necessarily like the fact that most games nowadays are appealing more to the masses, I can see why they're doing it. Companies want to make more money, of course, and the gaming industry is become so big now, like it's bigger than movies and music combined now, that of course people are going to be interested in playing it, so they want to make these games that are more accessible, make sure people, I guess, understand why games have gotten so big, but at the same time they're not. It's kind of counterproductive because games are known to be hardcore things that only the nerdy dudes played. But as for me personally, I'm still gonna stick to buying the games I know that are gonna last because they're hardcore,
right,
or challenging, or whatever you want to call it. As far as the easier games go, maybe if friends have it, maybe I'll check it out. But like, you won't see a Call of Duty in my library. You won't see a God of War in my library, and I'm a PS3 fanatic.
But I'd like to add in that easy doesn't mean not hardcore. Like, for example, The Legend of Zelda is not like some super hard franchise, but it's also not really a franchise that you'll see somebody that's not a gamer playing.
Exactly. Kirby is a prime example.
But then again...
Oh yeah, Kirby's easy as hell, but shit, I'll play some Kirby anytime.
But Kirby's fucking great, though.
So, Summer, you got anything to add here?
Can't not like Kirby.
I feel like the game industry is trying to make games less of games and more interactive movies.
And as a cinema fanatic, how does that make you feel, though? Like, that's what I was waiting to hear from you.
Yeah, okay. As a cinema fanatic, as you put it, it has me interested to see where the medium goes with that whole idea. Like in the case of Le David Cage, where he made Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. It's kind of a mixed bag because I enjoyed those games to some extent, but on the other hand, they felt, I don't know, just kind of weird. Like, I can't explain it. Like, it's two things that really don't go together, but they're trying, and it just kind of feels like they're trying too hard.
Right.
Yeah, and not to mention those games like that, I feel they have no replay value.
They really don't.
They don't, unless you want to
really
go for the whole multiple
games.
ending route. But I mean, I didn't really care.
I think, and a lot of people might disagree with this. You know what I think the greatest interactive movie of all time is?
Metal Gear Solid 4, aren't you going to say?
Star Fox 64.
Well, there you go. I was wrong.
It's an hour long. It's an hour-long game.
Yep.
It's an interactive movie.
And you know what? I've replayed Star Fox 64 more than any other game ever.
Oh god, I don't even know the number. I can't even count how many times I beat the game. But it's amazing. Why can't they do that now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway.
But we'll, I guess all we can do is just wait and see what they've got in store for us at this point.
Right.
But if you guys are all done, then I guess it's time to sign off.
Yeah, we've gone about 15 minutes than we intended to, really. But you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to us for an extended period of time.
Definitely.
You know, as we get more subscribers, we'll go for much longer. But you know, I think next time we're going to talk about DLC, so that's going to get interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
But until then, this is Mr. Talbane, and we are signing off the Knights of the Round Table. Of course, we couldn't have Seth in here tonight, but he'll hopefully be with us next time. But for the night, you guys have.
If he doesn't, we're going to bomb his house.
Send him your butt. What happened?
Nothing.
Send him a bun your butt pictures. Stop playing, people.
Send me your assholes.
Super GameCube 64. Always a pleasure.
I'll take your word for that, I guess.
So. All right, so that about does it. So, see you guys around, and stay tuned for the next episode of Knights of the Round Table. Hey guys, this is Mr. Talbane, or better known as Tevin Talbane, and I want to thank you once again for watching our episode of Knights of the Round Table. Now, in the next episode, we're going to be talking about DLC. What are the benefits of it? Why does it suck? Why are companies manipulating DLC? Or not manipulating, but rather taking advantage of DLC features and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that. And also, if you're interested in Let's Plays, you can go on ahead and check out my channel at youtube.com/werewolf150. That is WEREWULF150. So with that being said, stay tuned for the next episode, guys.